Fuck! Fuck! Fuck!
Oh, you stupid motherfucker!
You're gonna find me dead! I'm gonna kill myself!
Hit the fucking guy! What the fuck is he doing?
I'm gonna be hanging from the bathroom!
They got the leg!
Don't ask me to do nothing! This is nothing!
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Steel Here podcast, where I'm your host, Kevin Adams, alongside my partner in crime, Jersey Jerry. And I don't know what the fuck is going on in that front office or with the ownership or the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers that you have any reason to believe that Matt Canada should have returned for another season. But here we are, had to do an impromptu rapid reactions episode because it's just unacceptable, Jerry Don.
Yeah, sure people seen the clip or at least heard my take on it on the radio with Filipponi and those boys. What really pisses me off is the people who don't want to speak up because they're afraid to get the Mike Tomlin backlash. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't say this because then it reflects on Mike Tomlin not doing his job the right way. You know what I mean? It's those type of people who really piss me off. Mike has been one of these guys, man. And listen, one of the best motivators in the NFL as far as coaches go. Probably, if you took any player on a different team and you said, hey, name one coach you would love to play for, they would pick Mike Tomlin. But here's what happens with Mike Tomlin is he leaves these guys in positions always a year or 2 or 3 years more than they should be. And listen, I love the little guy, Danny Smith.
Yeah.
I love him. He's a funny guy, the bubble gum. It's a cool story. He's dog shit. I mean, he's not good. He's not a good coach.
He's been struggling, and to hang on to him, which we just found out today, it doesn't appear as though Danny Smith is going anywhere. So this is Thursday nights, about 7:30. Jerry and I are recording. So we're hearing Danny Smith is going to stay, but Danny Smith to me is like the smallest fucking gripe that I have at this point. Is he good? No. Steelers special teams has been a weak point for many years. I've just accepted that as what it is. But you could have changed the Matt Canada thing, and I do not want to fucking hear about how we went 7-2 down the stretch, and that is why it saved his job. Because Jerry, of the 7-2,
go for the teams, Kev.
Who did we beat, Jerry? Who did we beat that was quality? We played 2 playoff teams in the stretch. We beat the Ravens without Lamar Jackson, and we scored 16 points. It's not like we blew them out of the fucking building. We scored 16 points. We lost to the Bengals. Those are the only 2 playoff teams we played out of the last 9. The rest of them, the closest team that had any amount of wins was 7. It was the fucking Raiders. So, I mean, we're hanging our hat on 7-2 down the stretch, and he got so much better. They went from 16th in scoring to 16 points a game to scoring 20 points a game. 20 points a game is what hey, come on back for a third season. You really turned it around. That's what we're hanging our fucking hat on in Pittsburgh.
Well, that's how Mike Tomlin wants to win games. He wants to run the ball. He wants to be in these close games. He wants to be physical and just barely win and barely have a chance. This year, they didn't have a chance to make the playoffs. But that's just what it's going to be. They're consistently going to be one of those teams, if nothing changes, because nothing is changing, that is on the fringe of making the playoffs or barely makes the playoffs and gets routed first round.
And that's my problem, guys. And this is what I've bitched about for years, is that we've accepted that it is okay to just get to 9 or 10 wins. Maybe get in the playoffs, get ousted in the first round. Jerry, I'm going to read you something. And to me, this is one of the most important things. This should be at the highest of demands when you're looking at an offensive coordinator in the NFL. The last 7 Super Bowls, 13 out of the 14 participants averaged 27 points per game. 13 out of the last 14 teams that made the Super Bowl averaged 27 points per game. We averaged 20, not 18 actually. We averaged 18 after
18.1.
Right. So that's us expecting to score 9 more points next season with Matt Canada coming back. If he can pull out 9 more points, Jerry, I will give one of our listeners or one of my Twitter followers $5,000 fucking dollars if the Pittsburgh Steelers can average 27 points next year.
Yeah. No, I'll double it. I'll double it because it ain't happening.
It's not happening.
No way it's happening. They're not averaging 27 points a game. I mean, what do they think is gonna see? This is what I don't understand. And I seen a couple people on Twitter, some big accounts tweet this. Well, Matt Canada, it was Kenny's rookie year. They didn't want to throw everything at him at once. They're gonna open up the play. What playbook? This guy got 6 plays. I mean, that's just what it is. This scheme is terrible. They're not opening up shit next year. The only thing that will happen is Kenny will develop into a better quarterback probably.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
He'll have better continuity with his wide receivers. But when push comes to shove, they ain't going to friggin' beat teams like the Bills, the Chiefs. They're not going to be in those games.
And Jerry, what's the defense? Oh, you can't do that to second-year Kenny Pickett. You're going to hurt his growth and development. Give me a fucking break. The reason that's such a bullshit cop-out is because you just look at 2 of the teams that made the playoffs. The Chargers with Justin Herbert moved on from their OC after his rookie year.
Yeah, Lombardi's gone.
They moved on after his rookie year and brought in Lombardi, and now they've moved on from him. Yeah. Trevor Lawrence with the Jaguars. They let go of their OC after his rookie year. He went on to throw for 4,000 yards last year. I don't want to hear that it's impossible. And then people reply to me, yeah, but look at guys like Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. They moved on after their rookie year and they've struggled. Okay, great. Maybe those guys just aren't fucking good. Maybe they're just not good, which is very plausible in this whole grand scheme of it. So to sit back and to just say that the Steelers had to do this to coddle and to make sure that his growth wasn't stunted, that is such a cop-out because here's what's going to happen, Jerry. We hold on to Matt Canada. They're going to let him go. They just won't renew his contract. He'll gracefully leave after next season. And then we have to start over with a new guy. So then Kenny has to then learn a new system in year 3. Say it takes him 8-9 games before he really has a grasp on it.
Too. I mean, that's not going to be easy.
Exactly. So you're talking, it's going to take at least half a season to get any familiarity with it. So then you're talking 2.5 years into Kenny's career before we really even have anything with the OC. You can't expect him to go out and win a Super Bowl in year 3 with a brand new offensive coordinator. That would just be very difficult to assume.
Cam Hayward will be gone by then.
TJ's a year older. Minka's a year older. I mean, you're looking at a lot of what we have in our stalwarts. They're going to be aging a little bit older. The Steelers are fundamentally holding on to guys that fucking suck for too long, and it's holding us back. And this is why everywhere on Twitter, on this podcast, anyone who has a conversation with me in public, this is what I come back to. This is why Mike Tomlin deserves heat, because he does not put his foot down and say, look, this is not working anymore. We need to move on.
Yeah, and people hold on to this narrative, and I'm so sick and tired of it. And listen, I'll be honest, and I've told you in the past, you brainwashed me into believing that, hey, Mike Tomlin might not be all he's talked up to be. And honestly, the past 2 years of you saying that, it's opened my eyes to where I'm at the point listen, he's a great guy. He's one of the best motivators there are in the league. People love playing for him. But when push comes to shove, what does he do? The team is just always mediocre. And why is that? Well, I don't know. Maybe it's because he holds on to this special teams coordinator. Maybe it's because, the offensive coordinator just gets years and years. Or the defensive coordinator just stays there a year or 2 extra. And they're not putting the right people in positions to boost this franchise to win playoff games. I mean, it's just the same thing year in and year out. And eventually, I don't know what it's going to take. I'll tell you what, I give the Rooneys, I'll put some blame on the Rooneys too, because at some point you got to say to yourself, the fans, listen, I know we're just fans, and I know the people on Twitter are just fans, but this is 2 full years of probably 90% of the Steelers fan base bashing Matt Canada. And eventually what's going to happen is they'll just stop going to games. I mean, you already see the decline. You're there every week. I mean, less and less fans show up to these games. Unless it's like a big game. You're 1 game away from probably making the playoffs. Big Ben's last game. I mean, I don't know.
Jerry, I'm gonna read you something that a lot of what I want to put forward in this episode is not just me ranting because I don't like Matt Canada, because we know I don't fucking like Matt Canada. I've been saying that since week 1. I'm going to read you what our competition is, and I'm going to give you statistics to back some of this stuff up. So when people are sitting on a high horse or they want to, feed themselves hopium is what I call it. When you smoke a bunch of hopium and hope that, Matt Canada figures it out in year 3. Here's what we have to go up against in the AFC. We all know we're looking at the Chiefs, the Bills, the Bengals. Those are 3 that we're going to battle for the next decade. It's just how this fucking game gets played. The Chiefs, Andy Reid is arguably the best coach in the NFL, in my opinion. Okay? Arguably the best coach in the NFL. That is their play caller, offensive-minded. Doug Peterson, Super Bowl winning coach, offensive-minded. Ken Dorsey, Bills offensive coordinator. He was a quarterback in the NFL, offensive-minded. Zach Taylor and Brian Callahan call the plays in Cincinnati. Sons of NFL coaches. The Steelers have Matt Canada. And Matt Canada led the Steelers when he was in college at Indiana. Offenses that he had ranked went 38th, 97th, 84th, 56th, 60th, 98th, 57th, 41st, 10th, the 1 year at Pitt, 76th and 69th. This guy couldn't even cut it in college. He obviously is showing the same offense in the NFL, and we're supposed to believe that somehow it's going to get that much better in year 3. I'm not listening to it. I'm not fucking listening to it. There's nothing anyone is going to tell me to talk me off of this because you're wrong and you will be wrong. And I will remind everybody that you are fucking wrong next season because we're going to be sitting here 8 weeks into this thing like we should have beat that fucking team. We couldn't score 20 points again, Jerry. We couldn't score 20 again. We're going to be beating the same fucking drum again next year.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. You know what I mean? Listen, you're going to see. Listen, I believe the Steelers will win games next year.
So do I.
I believe that, but my take is this: they will win games, and I think they're going to have a better record than this year. But my whole thing is, okay, you make the playoffs next year, right? Let's say you get bounced first round. You know why? Because you're probably going to play a Bengals team, a Chiefs team, a Chargers team, a Jaguars team. They all put up fucking points, bro. And I think that's going to be the one thing heading into next year is you'll see, and this is what gets me nervous. I think the Steelers, with Matt Canada, I'm talking now, I think they will win games. I really do.
And the schedule's easy next year.
Schedule is pretty easy, okay? They don't go up against a lot of really, really good defenses. So I think you'll see the Steelers get better as long as Kenny gets better and he progresses. Najee's healthy. Everybody stays healthy. But my take is this. You got to do it when it counts. And I believe Matt Canada will get out-schemed. You'll see the other side of the ball, them put up a bunch of points, and you'll just see the Steelers, win like they did the whole past year, run the ball, dink and dunk, and let's just hope Kenny could lead us into a 2-minute drive and win the football game, or we'll kick a field goal. Because that's the only way I see this offense getting stuff done.
You make an incredible point, and it leads me to the next statistic that I want to read to you. The Steelers are one of 16 teams that are above 500 since the start of 2021. Okay, one of 16 teams. Yet they have the fewest points in that group and are the only team of the 16 to not score 700 points. They have the worst points differential in that same group at minus 93. So
holy shit.
They're trying to win games 16-13 in a league where you have to score 30 points every once in a while. You got to fucking put up 30 to win a football game. And to continue to take this archaic idea that you can win football games like it's 2000 and rush the ball for 250 yards and win on every Sunday is just idiotic. It is impossible to believe that we can win that way moving forward. Historically, it's not going to happen in today's NFL.
No, I mean, if the Steelers are looking to play ball like this, you might as well go up and give Aaron Donald a call and see if he wants to come play football for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You better start boosting up that fucking defense even more than it is now if you want to win games like that, honestly.
It's unbelievable, Jerry. Look at the teams that are still left in the playoffs. You have Kansas City. They averaged 29.2. The Bills, 28.5. Philadelphia, 28. Dallas, 27.5. The Niners, 26.5. And don't even get me fucking started on the Niners, man. The fact that they can put up these points in buckets with the last pick in the fucking draft. Yes. Don't tell me that a good scheme can't help bad talent. Not that they have bad talent at all. They're very loaded. We know that. But to think that Kenny Pickett does not have some good weapons at his disposal and to think that he's not capable of doing what Brock Purdy does is idiocy to me. That's a fucking bad. That to me is how you know that good play calling and good coordinators can really help a football team win games. You go to the Bengals, 26 points a game, Jacksonville 23.5, and the Giants 21.5. And there we are at 18.1 points per game. Yeah. It's fucking, it just makes me so fucking angry because we're just wasting time.
Yeah. I think they were just, see, now, I think with their, and listen, I haven't spoken to Kenny about this. Me and you talked about it. Is there a part where Kenny is going to bat for this guy? We don't know that. Mm-hmm. He kind of hinted at the repetitive play calls in his early on in his press conferences, guys not watching enough film, stuff like that. So who knows? I mean, maybe Kenny is going to bat for him. We don't know.
But Jerry, we got to look at this realistically. That's another one of the big arguments is that, Kenny loves Canada. He endorsed him since their fucking days at Pitt. And this.
I don't think he endorses him. I'm just saying I don't think Kenny is one of those guys that's going to say, hey, get this guy the fuck out of town. It's not, I don't like him.
Not publicly. Kenny Pickett is just not one of those guys, especially in year one. He's never going to be the diva guy. And so when they say, Kenny, is talking glowingly on Ben's podcast and with McAfee, saying all these great things about Matt Canada and is being excited to have a second year with him, he would say that about fucking anybody. You think he's an idiot? He has to work with this guy. Would you openly talk shit about the guy that you have to hand-in-hand work with every day? No, nobody would. That's a fucking bad argument. You're an idiot for thinking that that's a good argument.
I just don't know what, can Tomlin go, does Tomlin have to clear things with the Roonies?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think he would.
But I'm saying, I think he's at his point in his career where he can pretty much, if he doesn't like something, the Roonies would fix it.
He'll get his way. He's been there long enough, man. That's the other thing is when people are like, is it Tomlin just can't get a new coordinator because the Roonies are cheap? It's $1 million. Matt Canada will make $1 million this year. The Ravens just let go of fucking, what is it, Roman? They let go of fucking Greg Roman, who under Alex Smith went to an NFC title game. Under Colin Kaepernick made it to the Super Bowl, and with Lamar Jackson was the unanimous MVP. And they let him go. They let him go this season. Just today, they let him go, and they're paying him $3 million to leave. If that's really what it comes down to, that the Roonies don't want to fucking let a guy go and they don't give Tomlin the say, then Mr. Rooney is so far out of touch, and the chief would be sick about this. He's got to be looking down, fucking rolling in his grave if that's really what's happening.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm honestly a little bit worried, man. I'm worried for what the future holds, especially with this offense. I think good things are going to come, thanks to, Kenny and Pickens and Deontay Johnson another year to develop with Kenny. You heard Kenny talk about how he didn't get a lot of reps with some of those guys. But, man, I'm just scared for, come playoff time or come that week 16 to 18 when you need to win some games, when you need to beat teams, when you need to score. Steelers got really lucky with their schedule down the stretch this year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
If they didn't have that soft-ass schedule down the stretch, they would have been fucked for weeks.
And that's just it. So it saved his job. Kenny literally saved this fucking guy's job by getting better. In spite of Kenny got better, and Kenny will be better next year in spite of Matt Canada and his play calls. Because Kenny is what we've come to find out is that Kenny is just one of those guys that is a film junkie. We come to find out today on the McAfee show that Kenny was allowed into the meetings on Mondays now with the coaching staff. Tomlin granted him that permission so that he could learn things 2 days in advance of hearing the game plan. he's one of those guys. What do you not want to partner him with somebody that is creative and gives him the ability to flourish instead of slowly bringing this kid along? I mean, in my mind, the NFL is the ultimate sink or swim. Throw him to the wolves and see if he fights his way out of it. You're not going to get babied. There is no babying in this fucking league, man. It's 31 other teams that want to cut your fucking head off. So you can't baby him and be, oh, next year, this is a 3-year plan. Fuck that. I'm tired of this. As Steelers fans, oh, you're so spoiled. When can we stop hanging on to that and start actually getting pissed about this? It's been 6 years since we've won a fucking playoff game, man. At what point are we allowed as fans to want more? I don't think we're asking that much, Jerry.
Yeah, no, I mean, you'll hear the Browns fans chime in and, other teams like that. But, dude, the Browns have a more recent playoff win than the Steelers. You know what I mean?
A lot of teams do.
Listen, it's been the same shit for about a decade now. If you said to me, how long's this recipe in Pittsburgh been fucked up, been stale? Probably about a decade. Maybe even 11 years. It's been pretty fucked up, man, for a while. I don't know, man. It's just one of those things that you scratch your head, and us fans will week 1 will come around next year, and the off season they might make a couple moves. Who knows? And you'll have that false hope that like, oh man, it's gonna be different. But I'm just gonna not try to get to that point, man, because people are still in places that they shouldn't be, and that's just what it comes down to. Like. I don't know, man. The thing that pisses me off is like you have probably 90% of a fan base, radio stations, people talking about it on TV, on networks, about former NFL players saying how bad this scheme is on the offensive side of the ball in Pittsburgh. Players on the football field from other teams saying flat out, they're running the same plays. Like, and you don't say to yourself, oh shit, maybe something should change here. Nope, we'll just bring them back for another year.
Right. And to me, that is why I do call for a coaching change at the head coaching spot, is because of this.
So you're there right now.
Jerry, I've been here. You said I brainwashed you into thinking this. It's not that I brainwashed you. I make a very legitimate argument that Mike Tomlin gets a lot of fucking great hoopla based on something he did 15 fucking years ago, and we have not even gotten close to sniffing it since we lost the Super Bowl in 2010. We've not even gotten close, So yes, I'm there, because if he's going to continue to employ guys that are unfit to be there, that is on him, man. Who else is it fucking on? It's either him or Rooney. It's one of these two, and I'm hard-pressed to believe that Mr. Rooney will not let Mike Tomlin make a change if he sees fit. I'm hard-pressed to believe that.
Yeah, I agree on that point. I agree with your last point there for sure, 100%. They need to, if they're going to try this recipe all over again, they better bring in some more talent on both sides of the ball. You better go get a receiver, number one. You better go draft a receiver, because you know what's going to happen, and I'm afraid it's going to happen is you're going to go in, because Deontay Johnson is not happy with Matt Canada.
No.
I think he's pretty cool with Kenny. He comments on Kenny's Instagram, and he tags him in his stories and whatnot. You know what I mean? So I think Deontay Johnson has realized a part of Kenny not really getting him the ball as much falls on Matt Canada. And I think, Deontay has a big problem with him. And hearing that news today, don't be surprised, Steelers Nation, if come week 3, week 4, week 5, one of these nutcases on the offensive side of the ball, I'll include George Pickens in that, because he's a head case. He's a great talent. But I predicted it last week, and then last year, and what happened? A week later, he's stepping over refs on the sideline. He's throwing his helmet. He's screaming. One of these guys are going to snap, man. And let's say Deontay Johnson, let's say you don't get a receiver, right? And Deontay Johnson, week 4, is like, fuck this shit. I ain't getting the ball. I still ain't scored a fucking touchdown. You know what I mean? I want out. Trade me. I want to get the fuck out of here. So he weasels himself into a trade next year before the trade deadline. And guess what? What do you have? You have George Pickens, who's great. Don't get me wrong. but what else do you have? Because you didn't take a receiver. You're hoping Calvin Austin is gonna be the next Tyreek Hill. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. No, the Steelers have big needs on the offensive side of the receiver room. I mean, we're going to have to get a receiver in some capacity or another, whether that's a veteran free agent that we sign or whether that's they do. Kenny, again, is banging the drum for Jordan Addison. I mean, anywhere he goes, this is like the Jordan Addison fucking recruiting trail that Kenny is on here. I mean, every podcast he does, he's beating for this guy.
Did he say he's going to be working out with him as well? Did he say that?
I think he said in Florida. Florida, I believe, is where he said. Is
okay, because
that,
I got confused because I thought he was talking about bringing Deontay and George and Pat and Connor and those type of guys to Florida. I didn't know he was talking about Jordan Addison.
I mean, he could be saying that he's taking those guys, but he did say he's excited to get together with him and train with him here in the next couple of weeks in Florida. So, he wants him, and let's.
You think the Steelers are going to draft him?
See, I don't know. That's the hardest thing for me is because they are going to need a wide receiver. But my thing is, do they invest that much capital on a wide receiver that's going to he's going to be your slot receiver. He's going to be your 3. You know what I mean? Do you invest a first-round draft pick? Because you have to take Addison in the first round if you're taking him. So are they going to invest that much draft capital? I doubt it. I think it's Kenny wishing, and depends on how free agency breaks out. I could see this going a myriad of ways.
How much money are we going to have to spend? Are we going to give Highsmith $15 million a year?
I don't know, but Kaboli said today if you give him 3 for 45, he would probably sign that in a heartbeat. So that's a lot of money to give another pass rusher, though, man. And we need to keep him.
I like Alex Highsmith. My gripe with him is when TJ is not in, he doesn't really do much.
He there were games where he
held his own for a little bit, but
right.
For the most part, I don't think he could beat really a double team that well.
Well, here's the other part about is he's very good. There's no denying it. I'm not going to say anything negative about him because he's coming off a very good season. He's quiet. You don't ever have to worry about him being a dickhead. Like he's a good dude. Yeah. $15 million, and we said this a couple weeks ago. That's about what these guys claim where he's at is about $15 million. So the Steelers have a big, that's a big thing that they're going to have to figure out is how do we make this contract work? But you give him $15 million, you got to let go of. You're going to have to let go of Mitch. Like that's $8 million. You can dump that right there. Witherspoon, you can dump. Mitch, you can dump. If you did cut Miles Jack and you chase somebody else in free agency like Tremaine Edmonds, you can go that route. You restructure Cam. The Steelers could have somewhere around $40 million, roughly. They could have about $40 million to play with.
After all that's done?
Yes.
And that's pretty much to bring in probably Tremaine Edmonds?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Tremaine Edmonds will claim somewhere between 10 and 12, somewhere in that ballpark. So you could easily lock him down. You're going to have to get a cornerback, and you're going to have to likely draft a cornerback. That's where the Steelers' money is going to end up going too. So they have genuine needs, and I'm just not sure if wide receiver is one of them. So I don't know that they take Jordan Addison. I just don't know that that's realistic at all, to be honest, where we're at as a franchise.
Well, hopefully, Calvin Austin is a really, really good slot guy. I hope at least, hopefully you get some work in with Kenny. What did anybody ever get like a clear story on like what exactly happened with that?
No, something he had a nagging injury, something with his ankle, which is interesting because
surgery, right?
Yeah, and we saw him at Cam Hayward's softball game. Like, he was there, he was playing.
He was playing, he was running.
Yeah, he was totally fine. And then the first week of camp, I guess he tweaked something and just could not heal. And so that sucks. That's unfortunate. But regardless, it wouldn't matter. Right? Alawalu should be gone. I think you'll probably lose Wormley is probably on his way out the door.
I seen something today. Omajobi might not resign.
That's what I was reading the report saying. They don't think he'll come back. That hurts. We're definitely going to have to go D-line then. I mean, the Steelers have other big needs. That's why Jordan Addison is, to me, just a pipe dream. To draft a wide receiver, likely wide receiver 3 in the first round when you have major needs at other positions, to me just doesn't make sense. And it would not be the Steelers' MO. They don't really go that route.
Yeah, I could definitely see that side now that I think about it a bit more. And like, as much as I would love that reunion, there is a lot of other needs. D-line, corner, a linebacker for sure. The linebackers were bad this year. They were really bad. Both of them were not good. Miles Jack was not who people talked him up to be, who we talked him up to be after we got him.
I wanted him to be the guy so
could
bad.
throw a ball.
I wanted him to be the guy. I really did. And not to say that he was dog shit. He wasn't dog shit. He just, I kind of was hoping to get the Miles Jack that pick sixth Ben in the 2017 divisional round and not the Miles Jack that we got. But, if there's one thing that we can be semi-optimistic about, it is that we are still young on offense. Matt Canada will be gone after next year. I would fucking bet my life on that much of it. If he does not put up major points, they'll move on from him. His contract will expire. The Steelers do have a brighter future, though. If we can hit this draft and we can sign some guys, it's just, to me, I just hate pushing, kicking the can down the road. I don't like wasting a year. I didn't want to waste this year with Matt Canada. I did not want to waste this year with Matt Canada. I wanted Kenny to get a new guy right out of the gates. That way we're going into year 2. Kenny now has a system under his belt, and fucking let's let the guns fly next year.
Yeah.
And we're just not going to get that. But, I bitch about the Steelers front office and coaching staff and shit like that a lot. So I don't want to do that forever. I'm not going to turn that into what we talk about the entire offseason just because it's draining. I don't want to fucking do it. There are so many other fun parts about the offseason, the draft, OTAs, mini camps, guys, free agency, training camp. I'm not gonna worry so much about it until we get into week 1 and then we really see what it is. And if he sucks, then we'll beat it to death. And that's what it is.
I agree. We'll have some fun this off season. We'll record again probably next week for the AFC championship game. Hopefully we can get Connor Hayward locked up and have him on for 20-minute episode or something like that. And keep it moving.
Yeah, for you guys that don't know, Jerry has been in communication with Connor. He said he's interested in coming on the podcast, so Jerry's going to hit him after we record here and pick out a day next week, and hopefully we can get him on. And then we will continue to update you guys from there. We just wanted to get this one out. Like I've been boiling over this Matt Canada thing. Like I've been really boiling about it, and I don't want to just beat it up to death on Twitter. So I said my 5 or 6 tweets and just let it die, but I needed to get this off my chest. And I guarantee you most people that listen to this will agree with us. It's hard to not agree with what we're saying today, Jerry, because the stats don't lie, man. The numbers don't fucking lie. And so he is what he is. He is what he is. He's what we got, guys. There's nothing we can do. Hope. I mean, I am praying to God I'm fucking wrong. Like, I don't want to be right about this. I don't enjoy being right whenever it means it hurts the team. I would rather be so wrong and everyone's like, you're a fucking idiot. I would love to be that guy.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll eat that. I don't care.
Right. Well, we appreciate the shit out of you guys. Like we said, this was an impromptu episode, but we are going to record again next week for championship, hopefully with Connor. And if you liked it, like it on YouTube. Take 1 second. Do it for us. Hop down there, like it, leave a comment, leave any comments you want. You loved it, you hated it, shut the fuck up. Love you guys, whatever it is. We appreciated it. Last week's episode had some incredible comments, so we do love when you guys do that for us. Appreciate the hell out of you. Thanks for supporting us all this way.
For sure. See you guys next week.
Later, Jer.
We're here. We're still here.
We are still here.